smile like she own it. Looking like the world is your runway. She can set it off like a gunplay. Oh my, yeah. Talk of the city.
So I've stayed in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've stayed in 6 different accommodations and I've been here for about 6 weeks. No, not even 6 weeks, I've been here for 4 weeks. So this just goes to show that like there is a lot of moving around. Now, I've actually done this on purpose because I wanted to be able to give people a feel for different areas, different locations, different price points, that kind of thing. But also for me, I didn't want to just be in one place so that I only know that as my local neighborhood and my local area. I wanted to be able to kind of go to other places, figure out where my new local is, figure out where my new restaurants are, and explore places in a way that you can't if you're only visiting for, you know, a night or a day or whatever. So I've really enjoyed moving around like this, but honestly, I think that when it comes to budget, that's obviously going to play a big part in it. But there are so many different accommodation choices here in Bali. If you're going to be coming here for an extended period of time, then one, you can either take my recommendation. Every recommendation is going to be different. Every person's different. Their needs are different. The location requirements are different. Or what you can do is just book your first little stint of time. And then once you're here, you can then go and view these different properties. The only problem with that is that they go really, really fast. So there was a property that I was like, I want to move there, but I just don't know if I'm going to be Airbnb catfish. So let me just hold off, contact them, see if I can go and view it. And then in that time that I'd organised the viewing, someone else had just gone on booking.com and booked the room. So you can very easily miss out on things. However, when you get here, you might meet friends, you might meet people who are like, oh, I've got a villa, we've got a spare room, do you want to come stay with us? All sorts of things can happen. So just be open to the fact that this is very different to if you're going on holiday for a week, where you're kind of like, right, I need to be here because I'm going to go and do that activity, that activity, that activity. This is a case of you spending a little bit more time here, then you've got time to be flexible and move around. And honestly, it's not that bad moving from place to place. It's not terrible. I definitely wouldn't recommend doing it every few days, but I've done it like every couple of weeks, and that has worked perfectly. Thing I want to talk about is rainy season. So one of the biggest questions that I have is Bali, is it worth going to Bali in rainy season? And my personal opinion is 1,000,000% yes. Like without a shadow of a doubt, this place in rainy season is not what you think it is. Yes, of course, there are going to be storms, thunder, lightning, rain, all that good stuff, but it isn't all day and it isn't consistently. So when it rains in England, I feel like it rains for 4 days. You're like, oh, it's raining. And then for the next 4 days, it's rain. Here, it will rain for an hour, 2 hours, and then you're good for the rest of the day. In my opinion, I would say 1000% rainy season in Bali is worth coming. And there's a few reasons why. So the first reason is there is a lot of traffic in Bali. And I think that the influencers kind of avoid this, but the roads are constantly busy. Even when you're on a scooter, there's just backed up traffic. Can't begin to imagine how busy these roads are in peak season. It must just take forever to get anywhere. It must do, because I just think like, how else? So in that sense, it's good. Also, the prices since the pandemic have actually skyrocketed in Bali. So I don't know any difference. So to me, it's still very affordable. It's still a lot cheaper than back home. It's probably just slightly above other Southeast Asian countries. However, it is going up as well. So if you are wanting to travel and save your pennies and have your pennies go a little bit further, then the best way to do that is obviously to come off season, and obviously take that risk of potentially there is going to be a bit of rain while you're here. Again, it doesn't rain all day every day, and you've just got to be flexible. I think that if you are here for a shorter trip and you've only got a week, you've only got 10 days, then of course peak season is going to guarantee that you've got more opportunities for you to enjoy those days, and you're not going to have to kind of run the risk of going, right, we'll come back tomorrow. Whereas if you are here for a bit longer, you've got more time to play with, then absolutely take advantage of rainy season. It is such a gorgeous place, even when the rain's happening. We went to a beach club the other day, sat there under our umbrella, watching the rain, watching the storm, watching the lightning in the sky, and drinking our cocktails, and it was just an incredible experience. So don't sleep on the fact that rainy season is the bomb, because I'm telling you, it's just incredible. The other thing is, when it comes to getting around, so I'm going to talk about transport, but in rainy season particularly, you will find that there's more cars that are in demand, because obviously no one wants to travel in the rain because you're going to get absolutely drenched. If you use an app called Grab, there are motorbikes that will pick you up and take you wherever you want to go. However, during the rain, they will actually just not respond. They will just be like, nope, we are not dropping you anywhere in this rain. And that's okay. Obviously they don't want to drive in the rain either. You might not want to get on the bike in the rain. So that's just something to be aware of as well. Now, going back to transport, so there's two different apps that are really, really So there's two different apps that are very popular out here, and that is Grab and Gojek. There are other apps as well, but they're probably the most popular ones. And ultimately what that is it's like Uber. So it's got, I guess, like sort of qualified drivers that are going to get you from A to B. Use an app. You can either pay by cash or card, and ultimately what they do is they come and pick you up from wherever your location is, drive you to wherever you want to go. You get a helmet provided if you're going to be jumping on the back of a scooter. Now, my first scooter experience was very, very scary. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I was absolutely terrified, but I've got so much more used to it. And these drivers, all you have to do is just not look and pay attention to what they're doing, because I just think that they know what they're doing. They're probably, a lot of them have grown up here. This is just the norm for how they rule the roads over here. But for me, I would not be driving the way that they do. There's no indication. There's very little looking around to see if anyone's going to be in your blind spot. All of that stuff just doesn't really happen out here. So I personally wouldn't feel comfortable driving a scooter. You can do scooter lessons over here if you want to do that. And of course you do get used to it. But for me personally, I'm just here to have a good time. So I'm jumping on the back of the scooter and off I go. Now Grab also do cars, but the cars tend to be about 3 times more expensive, maybe even 4 times more expensive than getting the scooter, because of course you're in the car, and it tends to take a lot longer as well because of the traffic. So it's just started raining while I've got my Grab. Oh, thank you. It's got me a little poncho. So we're just on the side of the road, getting a little bit dry for a moment. I have to say, this is one of my favourite co-working spots so far. I feel like we've got the whole upstairs to ourselves. Downstairs we've pretty much got to ourselves as well. And it's just a nice vibe. It's got nice cool air conditioning, the Wi-Fi's good. So far so good. The food, delicious. And then I've just got a lychee iced tea, which is one of my go-to drinks over here. But yeah, just getting on with some work, getting some bits done. Where are we? What's the name of this?
Inca potato head.
Inca potato head, but it's petitinye. But we don't know how to pronounce it. But basically we're Inca. There's 2 of them, at least, because I ended up in the wrong ones. That's how I know. And the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is working. So of course, a lot of you that might be coming over here for an extended period of time, you might be working out here. So there's a couple of things for you to take into account, and that is 1, accommodation. Because yes, there are cafes, there's lots of things to do, but sometimes you might have phone calls to make. You might just want to work in your pajamas for the day. You want to make sure that where you are actually living has good internet. For me, for example, a lot of the calls that I was taking, particularly when I first got out here, were at very early hours in the morning, so 3 o'clock in the morning. At 3 o'clock in the morning, it's gonna be very difficult for me, where I was based, to go and find a co-working cafe. So what it meant was that I had to feel comfortable enough in my own room to be able to deliver those calls and make sure I've got a strong enough internet to do that as well. So there's some things to consider, that even if you are gonna be going to cafes and co-working, sometimes you just wanna have a freaking ramen noodle at home and work from your own desk. Not only that, there are many different co-working hotels. So you can actually base yourself in a hotel that has an office in it, where you can go down, you get a little pass, you go down, you can work on a desk, like a hot desk kind of vibes. And then they also have private Zoom rooms as well. So if you've got a meeting that's going to be on call, you can kind of just close yourself off into a Zoom room, have those meetings in private. And of course, you've got regular cafes that tend to have really speedy Wi-Fi. They're used to a lot of people being on their laptops and editing videos and all sorts of things in those cafes. So, you know, it definitely is worth checking out where you want to be based to see how close you can be to some of these co-working spots. Look at this. Stay hydrated. This will be me when I go. Hey guys, so I'm coming to you from the back of a Grab taxi, and I'm going to be leaving Canggu, so I'm just on my way out of Canggu now. Thank goodness this aircon is on full blast, because I am so hot today. The weather is ridiculous today. I literally just came out of my accommodation out onto the main road, which is probably I don't know, a 20-meter walk, and I was literally dripping with sweat and the sun was just beaming down. So I'm actually excited to be in the car to cool down before I go on to my next adventure. So I don't know if I've shared this with you, but I'm going to be moving to Ubud for 1 week, and I made a bit of a mistake because the accommodation that I booked in Ubud, I booked it before I got here. I kind of wanted to get the feel of being in nature and that indoor outdoor lifestyle, so I'm going to be staying in the jungle. And not only am I staying in the jungle, I'm also in an open room, which sounds crazy, and I know it sounds crazy, and it's too late now because Airbnb have took my money. I'm gonna roll with it. I've gone into this knowing it was an open room. It's only since getting to Bali that I've spoken to people about Ubud, and they're like, whoa. First of all, the rain in Ubud is obviously a lot worse than it is a bit further down south, so the fact of being in an open room with lots of rain, the bugs are a lot. Even just like mosquitoes are one thing, but then you've got other bugs as well. One of the girls that I met and made friends with, she stayed in a really Instagrammable hotel. She absolutely loved it. However, even that, you know, even these like sleek, sexy Instagram hotels are very indoors, outdoors naturally. So she stayed in this accommodation, beautiful, but as she was walking towards her room, a big lizard, and I'm not talking a gecko, an actual lizard, ran into her room. And she never found it for her whole stay, so she checked out. She was like, I'm done. Like, she did one night, she got her friends to come rescue her, they checked out, and she was like, it was nice while it lasted. So then obviously with me and my open room, I have no idea what I'm gonna see. I have checked the reviews and it seems to be okay. People are like, oh, there's some bugs, but that's to be expected, but it didn't seem like it massively affected the stay. So I'm really hoping that I can have a good time there and just have a bit of peace, look out at the jungle, you know, spend my days in nature. It's also got a beautiful infinity pool that overlooks the jungle as well, so I'm excited to kind of enjoy that. So yeah, so that is where I'm on my way to. I was also just talking to my friend this morning, so she's actually she's an interior designer and she's just moved over here. So I went to go and visit her this morning, dropped off some breakfast and had a look around her new villa, and she said, I'm sure you'll be fine. She was like, at the end of the day, she's like, this is Bali, it's not like you're in Australia. As you know, in Australia, you know, because she lives in Australia, or before she moved here, and she said in Australia everything's trying to kill you. She was like, that's very different here. And then she goes, in Australia it's just mad, which I know because when I did my work and holiday visa out there, everything is like poisonous, everything has teeth, everything is out to get you. Whereas, you know, other places it tends not to be so extreme. So then she said, even the magpies in Australia. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I was like laughing. I was like, what do you mean the magpies? She goes, Sherilyn, the magpies, they kill people. I was like, what are you talking about? She was like, they will peck you in your head. She goes, September in Australia, magpie season, when they're doing all of their nesting, even if you're on the other side of the road and you're walking by, they will come for you and they will zoom into your head and they'll peck you. I was like, oh my gosh. And she said that as a result of them doing that, obviously it makes people panic and run and like do crazy things, and they end up, you know, getting, I don't know, into accidents and falling over and all sorts of crazy things. And she said that it even happened to her. She was walking and then a magpie came really close to her head and she was like, oh my gosh. So she turned around. I don't even want to be laughing, but she turned around and it was flying towards her and it pegged her in the back of her head. I don't know. So that made me feel a little bit better. I really hope that the thing here is going to try and peck me in the back of the head. They, you know, they might just stay in the corner of the room. They can stay there. I'll have my space. I've got my mosquito net so I can hide in there. But as you guys know, I did stay somewhere not too long ago that I didn't realise was going to have quite the indoor and outdoor jungly vibe that it did. And it meant that I really did struggle to sleep. There were lots of jungle noises, you know, like that rattling of the jungle happening. That was all going on. I had a frog next to my bed that I woke up and I was like, oh, no, I'm not getting out of bed right now. Lots of outdoor noises. So I'm very curious to see how I can handle it this time around. I think that maybe at the last accommodation I just wasn't prepared for it, so it kind of like took me by surprise. I just thought I was staying somewhere that was going to be closed off, and then to see that it was kind of wooden with lots of gaps where things were just coming in. There was no obviously like, you know, soundproof or anything like that because it was all very open. But this time I'm mentally prepared. It is just 1 week, so I will keep you posted with how it goes. Welcome to my next accommodation. So I've literally just checked in, and as you can see, this is the open room that I was telling you about. So beautiful little bed design, thank goodness. I've got a mosquito net that is going to be closed, sprayed up in there, and that's going to be my little sanctuary in case it starts to get a bit buggy at night. I can see some things flying around, but it doesn't look like any mosquitoes, just like little bugs. I have sprayed in here excessively. You can hear the roosters going already. Apparently they wake up at 4 AM. It's a bit humid, a bit muggy, but it's not unbearable. There's a nice breeze that actually comes through. And I've got a fan in here as well, which is good. So, I mean, it's not doing the most, but it's doing something, which is nice. So this is my little desk. Oh, look, there's a baby crying. Here's my little desk. I'll be able to work from here, and that is my daily view, which is just amazing. There was a little nest of something in here, so I saw this big massive bug, it was like this big, come flying straight in. It went above the door and it went into this like little cone thing that was hanging, and I was like, what the hell is that? And it was like nestling up in there, and I thought, that looks like it's home. And I was like, I could not have that every day coming in and it's like flying into its nest. So I went downstairs and I just said, hey, like there's this thing in my room. And then I went out because I was like, I don't want to be there while they're trying to get rid of it or whatever. So I went downstairs to the pool and I was just walking around that area, and then I came back, they were like, it's all gone, they've taken the whole nest away. And I guess they might have killed the bug thing, I don't really know. I saw them get the little, what's it called out? The mop, at the end of the mop out, so I reckon it had a bit of a situation. But one thing I'm not sure about, when I've looked at reviews, they've said that the sun rises this way. So literally you're in bed here, and then you look straight ahead and then the sun rises right in front of you. But my thing is, that would mean that I'd have to stay with the curtains open, and I think I want to kind of minimize the light at night and obviously be able to sleep without thinking, oh my gosh, what can I see ahead of me?
Baby girl, you're so fine, I can't get you off my mind. Ooh girl, nah nah, ooh girl, nah nah. Baby girl, don't need to flex, dance to the rhythm and you do all the rest. Ooh girl, nah nah, ooh girl, nah nah. Sign me up with dreams, the only thing I need. When I'm down, lift me up with your company. There's no telling what you want me creating. We're on the same wavelength. Feel the beat tonight, something good inside. Set you free, let you lose all track of time. Come on, come on.
So it's my first morning in the jungle, and it's lovely. Like, look at that jungle mist, that's like what you see in the films. So last night was an interesting one. Oh gosh, sorry about this big old spot I've got on my head. I can't get it to go away. So yeah, so last night was an interesting one. It started raining quite heavily while I was at that restaurant up there, Castara Hotel. I was up there having dinner, it was pitch black, and it started raining, and I was thinking, oh god, I hope that this room's going to be okay, because all it is just curtains to close. And I was thinking, I hope that the rain doesn't come through, and I hope that the curtains aren't blowing and all the things are getting in. So I got here last night and I was a bit apprehensive walking in, but I didn't need to worry. There was a friend who I'd spotted before I went out, and that was a couple of little geckos and then one big lizard, so it's probably the size of two of my hands, like together, and he was hiding behind the bed. So I was a bit like, oh, I don't know about this, but then I posted it online and everyone was saying, look, they're friendly, if they're in there then the bugs aren't going to be in there, so you're fine. And honestly, I just got used to him. I've named him Linford, and we've got this kind of mutual respect for each other. He does his thing, I do mine. He's not made any sort of movements or made me freak out. Actually, he did run one time and I was like, oh, I don't know about this, but then I think it's just because he didn't know what I was going to do. So I imagine that he'll be here every day. I think that maybe this is his usual hangout spot. Today I'm going to go to yoga, in case you can't tell. So I'm going to a yoga session with one of the friends that I've made here, and then I'm going to come back, get ready, and then I'm going to go to Wanna Jungle Club. So there's a couple of jungle clubs here that kind of hang over the edge. Infinity pools hanging over the edge of the jungle. Really good vibes, music, food, all that good jazz. So I'm going to do that today with a couple of other friends. So looking forward to today, and just kind of being in a new surrounding. It's very, very different to Canggu. Obviously I'm in a different part of Ubud, so maybe if I was in the town like Monkey Forest Road, it's a little bit more busy, but even still it's just a much calmer way of life. It's quite silent, so I feel like I have to whisper. I don't know why, it's just the thing. But yeah, I am loving it so far, and I'll definitely keep you posted. I think that this trip is teaching me so much, and particularly even this day. I know that like when we see beautiful things and gorgeous things and incredible goals and things like that, we look at them and we think, oh, but we know that that's not going to come without its challenges. And that is true. And you know, in order for me to wake up to this beautiful view this morning, I've had to put myself in an environment that is a little bit out, well, a lot out of my comfort zone, where I'm kind of in their environment rather than them being in my environment. So it has been a little bit challenging. However, it's worth it. I think there's so many things that we do that probably feel scary and uncomfortable and are very much out of our comfort zone, but ultimately they are worth it. And it's just about finding out what those things are for you and finding out what's more important, staying comfortable or experiencing something that is just mind-blowing and something that will change your life. So I feel like this trip alone and this particular jungle stay has been a massive highlight. I've only been here one night, but it already has been a massive highlight of my trip, and I'm so excited to see what more is to come.
So long, and I just can't ignore that it won't ever be the same. No, we will never be that good again. Don't drag it out. Skip the innocence.
Let me take you over the edge here.
Things will never be the same again. No, I got all that I need. No need to apologize.
So here we are. I don't even know what rice terrace is. I think it's Telelegang rice. Oh gosh, you can't even see me. And it's just gorgeous. So I'm gonna do the swing. I'm a little bit nervous because I feel like I am gonna be screaming. It doesn't look very like, you know, health and safety might be a bit questionable, and we are the first ones of the day, which makes me a little bit scared, but I'm sure it'll be lovely.
I am all that I need. No need to apologize, but we won't waste any more time. Yeah, you're still stuck on my mind. You won't go away. It's like you are a part of me. The mansion in my dreams. Now you won't be there, and I just can't ignore that it won't ever be the same. No, we will never be that good again. Don't drag it out. Skip the innocence.
Good morning, guys. It is hot. So today I'm currently doing the Ridge Walk, and I'm actually checking out of my beautiful hotel in Ubud. I love it so much. Honestly, I was so nervous before I checked in because I was thinking it's going to be so buggy, there's going to be animals everywhere, there's going to be creepy crawlies everywhere. But in all honesty, it was by far the highlight of my trip in terms of where I've stayed, and just having that sort of like time to myself, reflection time, freedom, relaxation, watching the storm. I've really enjoyed the indoor-outdoor living. So I'm very gutted to be leaving this morning, but you know, I got up early. I thought that I'd make the most of the area because I've actually not done this side, I've always gone the other way. But this is called the Ridge Walk, and ultimately this takes you from sort of where my hotel is, so kind of like in the jungle, like in the depths of the jungle. And it's about half an hour, 40-minute walk to get to Ubud Temple, and then you're kind of in the city part of Ubud. So I've not gone all the way down just because I know that I need to check out, and I'm kind of conscious. Plus, I want to enjoy my room. I want to have a lovely breakfast overlooking the balcony. Thank you. We are en route to Gili, and I'm so excited. So we're currently at Padang Bay. We are now going to go and jump onto the boat, which is going to take us across to the island. We've already booked our accommodation, and it's a beautiful day. Apparently the weather on this side is just much nicer anyway, so I'm really, really excited. So I'll definitely keep you posted on how this next stage of the trip goes. Oh my god, this is so scary! Jesus Christ. Where? I'm sorry, but look at these gaps. Look at these gaps. Whoa. Whoa. Why are you screaming with each step? Woo. Oh my god. Coming to you live from the Gili Islands, and we're currently at Gili. and just have a look at that water. Carla is loving life. Shantaria is loving life. The water is crystal clear. The vibes are lit. We haven't even started yet, but I already feel like this is an amazing dream holiday. It feels like paradise. And there's just so many cute little things around as you cycle around. There's cute little cafes and restaurants. Our hotel is beautiful, absolutely stunning. We're just so lucky, we're just so blessed, and I'm glad that I'm experiencing this with people as well, because it is kind of like a social environment, so it's really nice. But I'll definitely keep you posted on what is going on in Gili. Good morning, we're about to go on a snorkel tour, which I'm really excited about, because apparently you are pretty much guaranteed to see turtles. They say if you don't see turtles, then you get all of your money back, because I think they're that confident with it. Just putting my feet in the water now, and it feels incredible. It's amazing to think that very, very soon I'll be out there snorkeling. We're doing a private tour, so just me and Carla are going to go together and do a tour. And I'm just so excited. We've actually extended our stay, so we weren't going to leave tomorrow, but we decided that actually we wanted another day, so we've extended. The hotel gave us a good deal, and it means that we've now got a bit more of a chill day, so we don't have to say, oh, we need to get this done today, we need to do that. So we're going to do snorkeling today, and then tonight is going to be whatever we want to do. Tomorrow is a nice full day of tanning, relaxing, eating, and then we head off to Canggu, the craziness of Canggu, shortly after that. So just making the most of it, soaking it all in.
I got all that I need. No need to apologize. No, we won't waste any more.
So we are trying to get off of Gili, and then when we got here, it was like direct from Padang Bay to here. Apparently on the way back, we have to change. So we have to go from here to Lombok on the fast boat. Hey girl. Wow. What? And then when we get to the thing to go and check in, they're like, oh, and you need to buy this ticket, and you also need to pay the port tax or whatever it is. So it is just a bit complicated to get out. So if you are coming to any of the Gili Islands and you're hungover potentially from the night before, just get here early so that you can figure everything out, because it is a little bit complicated. They've just changed the rules, so it's a little bit crazy. But we are ready to get back home, we call it, where we can go and kind of just chill, reset, get some washing done, be in our own space for a little bit. Washing, laundry.
They're gonna wash it for you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But like, I've got to sort it out.
Sort it out.
Sort it out.
Sort it out.
I'm teaching her how to speak English. Right, how do you say waterfall?
Waterfall.
No. How do you say it in English?
Waterfall.
What did you think of that whole situation?
Which one? The one that we told us, you gotta pay this. Oh, you gotta pay this too. Oh, you gotta pay that too. A lot of unnecessary.
And then I've got all these tickets and receipts. I just want one ticket. I've got this.
You got a dog
I got this. It's a lot.
I got all you need. Say. We won't waste any more time.
I'm
Yeah.
just waiting for my motorbike to come pick me up, and then, well, I say motorbike, my scooter to come pick me up, and then I'm going to a kitchen because we're going to do some volunteering today. Oh, here he is, look. Let's see. Yay. They just come collect you, like, do that. Hi. We are watching the sunset. Oh, look at it. a little bit windy, but it is still very, very tropical, very idyllic, very paradise vibes. And this is where we're going to be for New Year's. This is where we're going to bring in the new year, which is crazy because, you know, a year ago, probably even less, I would have just like not been able to quite believe that this is my life. And I'm just so lucky that I'm able to experience this after all of the freaking hard work. So feeling really grateful, really good, and I'm excited for the new year. This is really dangerous. There's no health and safety here. Okay, so an update. So yesterday the weather got bad. Not that the weather's bad, but it's the waves that's bad. And then I found out when we were walking back from our lovely dinner after sunset, we went to just go and check on the boats for one of my friends that's going to be going somewhere else the day after tomorrow. So she's like, just make sure the boats are good. And they were like, oh, you do know that tomorrow there's no boats. And we're like, what? So there's no boats leaving tomorrow. The weather's too bad. And I'm like, I need to get back to Bali. Like, my boyfriend is on his way to Bali and I need to be there. And they're like, yeah, but they're not leaving any of the fast boats. They were like, the alternative is you could book a flight. So you've got to get to mainland Lombok, an hour and a half to the airport, 40-minute flight to Bali. But the flights sell out really fast when things like this happen. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I get back, I book the flight. It cost me £57. And I was like, I'm just gonna have to figure out a way in the morning to get to Lombok. And then obviously to get the driver to take me to the airport for the 1 o'clock flight. Wake up this morning, flight's cancelled. Well, not flight's cancelled. My booking has been cancelled. Really sorry, we're gonna refund you for the flight. I'm like, what the hell? So I'll go back online again to try and book a flight. £824 for a flight. £824. I was like, oh my God. So then I find out this morning that there is another boat that can take me back to Bali, but it's a local boat and it's a long ferry. They call it the slow lazy ferry. Takes about 7 hours to get across, and I've got to get a little boat over to the mainland, then another little journey, then get on this boat. And apparently there can be like chickens and all sorts of crazy things on there. And it's just not obviously the most wonderful journey, but hopefully if I leave now, God, look at my glasses steaming up, it's so humid. If I leave now, then I might get there before Daniel's flight lands at 11 p.m. And it is now 8:30 in the morning, or 8:15 in the morning, so I'll keep you guys posted, but this is crazy. Chickens. Oh, I'm with you. Oh, it's yours? Yeah. I made the decision to come here. And I know it's not easy, and I know that you're probably watching this video thinking I'd love to, but the visa, the finances, the this, the that, honestly, all of those things, all of those situations, I had the same issues with and the same concerns. But ultimately, I made it work. Anyone can make it work depending on your timeline and also, you know, how long you want to be here. But of course, I have loads more information about Bali, so stay tuned and I'll keep you in the loop.